I think that green fashion as an ideology should be adopted more widely.
There's a message for all textile and fashion students. Learn about your textiles before you want to evolve them and change them and make them into a fashion garment. It's a very important resource and you all have to study it for many years before you understand it.
I think sustainability in life is very important, and fashion is very much a part of life.
And fashion has made a lot of mess.
It was green, it was sustainable, and through the whole fast fashion, it got a little bit out of control, and we have to set it in the right position again.
The Green Fashion Initiative is so incredibly exciting because of the global impact that India as a nation has on the apparel industry as a whole. In fact, today I learned so many things at the conference.
But I think that the time has come that we cannot run away anymore. I mean, fashion and the garment industry, as we know, is one of the most polluting industries in the world. One of the second, I think. So there's no other way. Green is the only way we can go.
I think that green fashion as an ideology should be adopted more widely.
There's a message for all textile and fashion students. Learn about your textiles before you want to evolve them and change them and make them into a fashion garment. It's a very important resource and you all have to study it for many years before you understand it.
Sustainability in life is very important, and fashion is very much a part of life.
And fashion has made a lot of mess.
It was green, it was sustainable, and through the whole fast fashion, it got a little bit out of control, and we have to set it in the right position again.
The Green Fashion Initiative is so incredibly exciting because of the global impact that India as a nation has on the apparel industry as a whole. In fact, today I learned so many things at the conference.
But I think so the time has come that we cannot run away anymore. I mean, fashion and the garment industry, as we know, is one of the most polluting industries in the world. One of the second, I think, so there's no other way. Green is the only way we can go.
सर पुढचं सुरू करायला पाहिजे सर सर A very good morning, everyone. You all were watching the pre-conference and the snippets of the previous Green Fashion India. We all will be starting the conference very soon. Please stay tuned. very good morning, everybody. Before we start with the conference, there are a few instructions to all our audience. We would request everyone to keep their audios and videos on mute. We recommend you to use your headphones for a better voice quality. We'll be starting with the conference very shortly. I welcome all the guests, all the speakers for today's session. A very good morning to everyone. We'll be starting the conference shortly. Thank you. तुम्ही मला असं करायला सुरू करते. A very good morning and welcome back everyone for the second day of Green Fashion India 2021, a Prelude. On behalf of Maharshi Karvesri Shikshan Sanstha and School of Fashion Technology, I, Mallika, welcome you all again to this first ever digital version of Green Fashion India. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very glad to have you all with your passion and determination towards the extraordinary and most sensitive initiative of Green Fashion India by Soft. Before we start, again few instructions. Since you all are on auto mute mode, you can use the chat box to convey your questions only during the panel discussion. And we expect all of you to follow virtual etiquettes to smooth conduct of the digital conference. Ladies and gentlemen, this whole event is taking place live on our official Facebook page of Green Fashion India. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday on the first day of the conference, we focused on the purposeful utilization of green fashion to empower our roots. We even experienced how a pedagogical attempt is important to manage sustainability as a new challenge through design and intervention. The valued keynotes by esteemed speakers and the panel discussion among significant dignitaries from fashion fraternity inculcated wide-ranging tactics, outlooks, and ideas to practice green fashion. The keynotes and conversations scaled up our dimensions of understanding the sustainable fashion, its aspects, and how it can be made mass user friendly. Experiencing the sustainable initiatives and practices by the esteemed designers have expanded creative horizons and ignited the sustainable quotient of our young minds. I'm sure that the young force is now ready to explore the sustainable fashion sphere. Today, we are on the second day of the most responsible initiative of green fashion for empowering roots through collaborations and co creations. Ladies and gentlemen, we are blessed to have esteemed individuals from fashion fraternity as keynote speakers even for today's session. We are very pleased to have with us Mr. Chandra Prakash Jha, CEO of Cocoon. A very warm welcome, Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, by profession, is a fashion designer and German Sustainable Award-winning social ecopreneur from Jharkhand, India. Mr. Jha is market leader in certified organic silk worldwide and also a co-founder of raw material traceability startup Fashion for Biodiversity. It's a company with a limited liability. A futurist with specialities of being a sustainable fashion consultant, philanthropist, startup mentor, sustainability roadmap consultant, blockchain traceability, and regenerative architecture, all this makes Mr. Jha an exceptionally holistic professional. It's a great honor to have you, Mr. Jha. I would like to request you to begin with your keynote. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks to the team Green Fashion India Conference and Benjamin from Lebenskleidung to give me a chance to show my journey into sustainability. I would like to share my slide. As a grade 5 student, I saw my dad replacing our beautiful wooden corridor chairs to the plastic ones. When I protested, he told me that the salesman at a newly formed plastic furniture company informed him that wooden furniture promotes deforestation and is very bad for environment. And I was convinced, being a wildlife fan, and within a year, many of my personal assets were replaced by plastic. My metal geometry box, lunch box, water bottle were replaced by colorful plastic ones. A cotton canvas school bag, we used to call them basta, was also replaced by cool, shiny polyester rucksack. Even my metal pen was replaced by a plastic pen, I think Rotomag or Renault, something like that. Last week, when I saw news of a sinking container ship carrying 78 million tons of plastic granules called nurdles, the raw material for plastic furniture or product, this is an environmental disaster said to have a long-term effect on marine life. In the southern coast of India for hundreds of years. Not to forget huge carbon footprints in making these granules from crude oil extraction, transport, and manufacturing. Most of the wars in our time happened because of holding ownership of crude oil producing regions, killing thousands of people. As a human being, I feel partly responsible for this disaster. I also feel responsible when I saw dead people during Rana Plaza or other garment factory collapse in East Delhi as a fashion consumer. I never tried myself to even get informed if my cool t-shirt or jeans are made by a happy person or an unhappy. If there were blood and sweat of innocent people on my shirt or whatever I'm wearing day-to-day life. I never tried. Term sustainability, I learned very late in my life. Dear friends, term sustainability has been misused multiple times for monetary or economic goals. I'm honored to be giving my first ever keynote speech in front of fashion students in India. Makes me happy and glad that lessons on sustainability is provided now at college level so that everything can be understood at an early stage. I go to my journey, how I started. So 2011, I found kind of code. I wanted to found one NGO called Creativity Can Care, where I and with me and with some of my friends could make something cool without destroying environment or exploiting people. We found that where I lived there in Jharkhand, like 60 kilometers from my hometown, they used to have conventional silk farming. So I started making plan, and I named it Creativity Can Care, so that we create something which can also care for environment, care for human being, care for clients as well. I took over 5-hectare land to plant mulberry and arjun in Jharkhand. 2012, I applied for APEDA to get it organically done. Here I got some help from German government. Some specialists came who knew techniques of soil conversion from conventional to organic. Like we tried a few things like regenerative agriculture, organic agriculture. I mean, I don't come from this background, but everything was like learning by doing. Because we had a kind of dedication that we want to do everything nice from beginning. No chemical should be used, no pesticide, no herbicide. And it worked in 3 years. In between, we also tried how to make silk without killing the silkworm. And it was a big success. Thing is, learning by doing means when you know how silk is made, then you see a lot of bad part, like wilt part. And then we knew how to cut. We had to learn how to cut a cocoon properly so that we are not harming a pupa inside, which will become butterfly in next minutes or years. Or sorry, not years, it's weeks. We named it Peace Silk. We invented ourselves techniques of spinning pierced cocoons. Slow process. We are one of the first silk company in India to have ETP with bioenzyme, means without, we don't have any effluent going out of the factory. 2012, brand came, like instead of just Creativity Can Care, I squeezed everything together with cocoon and launched our first line of dresses at Green Showroom in Berlin. And that was one of the best part of my life, meeting cool people, including Ben. 2015, after 3 years of conversion period, my organic silk got certified. 2016, we introduced also solar powered power loom to make satin and many other cool fabrics. We initially started only with handloom, but 2016 we since 2016 we have a power loom as well. We can make amazing fabrics with that. 2017, with 10 metric tons, we became #1 market leader in certified organic silk, piece organic silk, I would say. For these things, we won in 2017 High-Techs Award, then Eco Design Award in 2018, and recently the German Sustainability Award. The reason was also to heal or also to regain lost biodiversity of the region through our project. Last year during Corona lockdown, because most of the irrigation thing happened in our region, with diesel Kirloskar pumps. But there were like no access to petrol, and then we introduced a solar powered irrigation system. So since last year, like March or April, we are carbon negative. Everything happens in our unit is with renewable energy. So these are the certification we have. Last year, early this year, I would say, we received also WFTO membership. These are the big brands who work with us. We supply them our Peace Organic Silk, and they make cool things out of that. So as you see, we sell organic silk fabric as a textile company, and we have our own in-house label. This in-house label exists in Germany since 2012. This year we launched in India as well. We try to combine folk art of Jharkhand with German avant-garde Bauhaus, and it was supposed to be well received in India. We are very glad. In between, I'm working with many other things, and so the thing where I'm involved right now, the first thing is called Best Textile Fiber for Environment, and another one is Mrida. So Mrida is actually, Mrida in Hindi means soil. This is actually a plan to uplift our potters community. Because potters, if we know, we only get to know during Diwali or Chhat festival, or in summer we used to buy, I don't know if still people buy these cool pots. So biggest invention what they have done in 50 years is adding one plastic tap, this one. The rest, there's no invention in pottery in India. And during Corona time, when there was no Diwali or Chhat festival happen, their income was really down, and I heard a lot of suicide happen among these communities, or they had to go to pity jobs as a construction worker or something, or labor work in agriculture. What they need here is upgradation of their skill and design input. We want to make cool things. We want to introduce cool furniture out of terracotta, kind of value addition to their skill. We'll make vertical gardening pots. We are adding technology. We'll make solar panels with terracotta. And Mrida will be one cool, sustainable lifestyle company coming up. We already have almost 150 potters joining our team. And hopefully by 2022, this project will initiate in Jharkhand. Second one, what we have here is a kind of very potential, I mean, this project has big potential if we can save environment with fashion, is by using innovative fibers. These fibers, what I'm talking, flax, everyone knows linen. Kenaf is something new for many of us. Sisal is, we must have seen around us, it looks like aloe vera, but it has a lot of fiber inside. And with that, we can make fibers quite similar to rami or linen. With kenaf, we can make something similar to cotton. And here we are having a partnership with ICAR from Central Government of India. Here scientists are from India, USA, and Germany. So the proof of concept, we are starting at India-Nepal border, district of Madhubani from September 2021. And next year, I think February, we'll finish our proof of concept. Here we are using precision agriculture like smart farming also for flax farming and these things. In making a sketching machine ourselves, because in India, sketching machine doesn't exist. You have to buy for almost €1 million from Italy or from China. So here we are also developing machinery. Sisal is very important, I think, for if you want to have really sustainable fiber, because sisal doesn't need any irrigation, no chemical. If there's a monsoon once in 2 or 3 years, it's enough for growth. And it's very soft. Current use of sisal is just they make ropes for a shipping industry, but it has a big potential next year's to be a mainstream, to enter into mainstream fashion. So last year's during Corona, I would say like March 2020, we heard these things: pandemic, social distancing, lockdown, digital life, COVID idiots, work from home, home office, and then for us, like organic farmers, digital auditing. So what happens? Every year we receive people from government. They come and they check our farm. If everything is good, they take soil sample, leaf sample from our farm, and then they say, yes, this is organic. And because of lack of flights and all, did not happen. And then this thing happened, scandal last year. I'm very thankful to gods that they were kind of whistleblower in India, and they found that 20,000 metric tons of organic cotton were not organic. So this all happened because of manual or kind of linear auditing what we have at raw material stage. And then this idea of my new company came. I would like to run video first.
Have you ever opened your wardrobe and wondered, what should I wear today? Well, while you were pondering, practically 7.5 acres of backwoods cover was cleared. Your demand for fashion is legitimately energizing flames in the rainforests. This deforestation has left 70% of the species at the brink of extinction. The fashion industry is answerable for 10% of mankind's carbon emissions. That is more than all worldwide flights and oceanic transportation combined. Furthermore, if every last bit of this is not yet a stunner for us, Earth will turn out to be simply one more dormant planet floating in the dark space. Now, before you get all hopeless, there are still measures to lessen and even reverse these impacts. The appropriate response lies in technology. At Fashion for Biodiversity, we utilize blockchain innovation to follow the carbon impression of each bit of every article of clothing in the flexibility chain and encourage transparency through QR codes. As remote sensing data becomes more numerous and accessible, it can increasingly be used to identify and quantify land use changes and habitat loss. This is a technology developed for redefining the relationship between fashion and biodiversity. We are Fashion for Biodiversity.
Yeah, I would like to come back to how it works. My new startup has multiple aspects. One is the sustainable cotton, which goes human rights through how to take care of human rights through technology and roadmap. I would like to start with cotton. If I start, everything is too long, so I just give more focus on cotton because it's a current subject right now. So this is how our current raw material stage certification happens. One inspector comes to one farmer, and because the farmer the farmer wants to make his farm organic, and he applies for certification, and then one guy comes from government agency. He looks at the map, asks a few questions, takes soil sample, leaf sample, and goes back to his office, and he puts on Excel sheet. what happened last year, because one physical and there was no physical because of Corona, they could go back to the Excel sheet and instead of, if suppose they make 50 tons of cotton, he could do 200 ton also. There was no cross verification. He could change. Blockchain is something really good. I think there are some cool companies coming. These data cannot be manipulated, but still data entry from this farmer is all trust-based. If he's a good farmer, he will be honest. He will say, hey, I made 20 tons. If he's not honest, then he might say he made 200 or 300 tons. There are many things which are not there. Something like cross-verification, land use ratio, yield approximation, and also the biggest problem what I have seen is at the ginning phase where cotton comes. So there's no guarantee this cotton is actually coming from our farmer, the certified farmer. Maybe he's buying from somewhere else, non-conventional, and bringing it. There are some labs are coming in India which can identify, but it's a long process. If we have a technology, it can help much easier. Fashion for Biodiversity is bringing plug and play solution, and where we have collaboration with European Space Science Agency and ISRO in India. With their help, first we'll make geo fencing of the farm of our farmer. With that, we'll have a lot of information. Then our auditor is going with a drone. So drone has a lot of advantages, like it can also go to terrains, for example, in many parts of India. Cotton farming is done on terrains, so physically it's not possible. Then we have IoT. Every farm will have one IoT. This can give information every day, how the situation. This IoT can help a lot to the farmer about, this can help up to 80% reduction in water use. And there are many multiple use. I'll come next time. So there are 9 sensors in one IoT. And as we can see here, instead of one auditing, we can have 31 auditing a year. So this is our first IoT. Our new IoT looks much more cool. This was kind of jugaad, to bring everything together. This works really cool. I mean, we did already our proof of concept 2 years back in our cell farm. This is our drone. This drone has also around 9 sensors. The best feature is that the sensor can, with the color of leaf, can also sense if a farmer secretly is using any pesticide. And also on the soil, it can check if all the particles are biological or there are some non-organic components like any chemical is there. So it can give all the information to us in our control room. And then we are using RFID technology to trace each and every gram of, we'll know exactly from which part or which sector of the farm this cotton is come. Blockchain is used so that all these data are safe, not manipulated. We call it Fashion for Biodiversity. That's it. So that was my presentation about my journey and how from a kind of cottage industry, I grew to a technology company. It's all because I want to do something also where we feel safe. When we say organic, it's organic. We really have to stop people misusing term organic, term sustainable, because I know many hardworking organic farmers in India and they are not happy because they don't get a good price because they are fake organic people. They can sell their product at a cheaper price. So all this experience as a designer, as a farmer, made me to bring this kind of technologies and also new startup. As you saw, I'm already working with 3 different startups right now. This all happened because of meeting cool people around me, Benjamin, and also, so I have always conversation. I'm open to ideas, and instead of always blaming system, I try to find solution. And this has made me to work more and more till the time a customer are happy and they feel, as an organic company, as an entrepreneur, as an organic farmer, I also have a moral responsibility. When I say organic anything, it should be organic, not just for greenwashing or something. So that was my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jha, for enlightening us with your sustainable initiatives. I think it really makes a lot of difference if we all start thinking sustainability from every aspect, just like you. Thank you so much once again, sir. Up next, we have with us our keynote speaker, Mr. Gautam Mehta, Head of Design, Product and Business Development for the story Respun by Raymond. A very warm welcome, Mr. Mehta. With an accomplishment as a leader with 20 years of corporate and entrepreneurial experience in the fashion and retail, Mr. Mehta has been serving in fashion field in varied capacities. His wide array of experience embraces varied roles and responsibilities that includes being a founder of Allure India, a sourcing company, and as a category head for Raymond Made to Measure. His very recent lead as a head of design, product and business development for the Story Respun brand of Khadi and handmade by Raymond is a step towards sustainability. Mr. Mehta has been closely dealing with areas such as business strategies, design strategies, vendor management, supply chain, and related infrastructure and operational management. It's really a great honor to have you, Mr. Mehta. I hereby request you to kindly start with your keynote.
Okay, thank you, Malika, and thank you, Scott, for a lovely introduction. And I'm so excited to be here, and I can see so many students online, and I hope that this session becomes useful for for the students to see. And let's get started with this one. I'm sure you already know about Khadi and handmade. But my idea today is to bring in the perspective from the industry side of it. So how I'm covering this whole session is I'm basically breaking into 3 categories. What is Khadi? What is the relevance today? And what are the challenges we are facing, right? And the most important is what are the solutions, what we have it. Now, how do you go about this journey when you start out of college? And, so this is what you can probably gather from this session, which is there. Now let's get started. Today, as you see, the world has changed and we are at a very interesting point because last 1 year has made all of us really think back exactly what's happening in this world. We become far more conscious in what we are living, right? And obviously, naturally, because of the pandemic, we are more conscious about our health. Now, naturally, when we are focusing on our health, we started eating the right food. Once the moment we start eating the right food, our overall mindset and everything has changed. Naturally, all this is reflecting on the kind of clothes we are wearing and what we buy, right? And so the Indian designers and the next generation entrepreneurs are a very interesting point because of the position in terms of how India is enriched with all the heritage and craft, and people are looking for these kind of lifestyle clothing which can offer. I would like to say practically we are like a Formula One pole position as a company, as a country, because we've got the advantage of the geographically how we are placed with all the skills and everything. So we are at a very and I think the international brands are able to understand that more. As you can see the earlier presentation where all the brands are coming into India and they're trying to gather our heritage and trying to work on it. Now we have to understand, can we take this baton forward? Can we take this thing forward? In India, I think it's still at a very nascent stage. as a mindset. When we look at our country, we look at it in two aspects of it. One is the India we call the Bharat. And Bharat, when I say that, is the mindset when you like, oh, khadi, oh, it's a very jhola, oh, independence movement, yeah. So it's oh, okay, a political set of people used to wear it, yeah. And generally, when you see it and you then see it in the masses in terms of a khadi bandar kind of a scenario, right? But then there is the other India, which is become more conscious. India is where this virtual meeting is happening. Our lifestyles, we're becoming more conscious about it. Now, we are the new flag bearers of this kind of khadi now, right? And it is up to us that how do we take this forward. But to take this forward, first we need to understand what is khadi. And who better to explain this than Mahatma Gandhi himself, right? So I would like to quote him here in how he says it, that I see God in every thread I draw on the spinning wheel, right? And I like to add further to this, सिर्फ खादी नहीं है खादी, आबादी है खादी, जो रूह को छू जाए वो आवाज है खादी, जिंदगी जीने का अंदाज है खादी, सिर्फ खादी नहीं है खादी. It's a way of life, it's how you approach things, and that makes all the difference, right? Now, also I have to explain it in a simpler manner that, okay, what is khadi? It is there. So in a simple manner, anything which is hand spun and hand woven together is called khadi, just to keep it simple. Now you can say, okay, we've got all, we understand all this part, it's nice philosophically, all this is good, but, so how does it make sense? What is the relevance today? The relevance today is very important because, the international brands and the overall big brands with a huge demand for eco-friendly things are moving towards how sustainable goals can be achieved. The climate goals of 2040 and 50 now, which can be achieved. So they're going towards, somebody is going towards getting leather out of a cactus, somebody is going towards making clothes out of mushrooms, somebody is going towards ocean plastic. Now, what is that India, we have to ask ourselves, what is that we can do in this whole thing? What is that we can offer? So we got a low-lying fruit here, which is already set. All we need to do is just to re-energize the whole thing, and we need to get on with this thing. Now, also the other question which you want to ask yourself is that when all these big brands are doing, these kind of sustainable changes and innovations, eventually the whole pie of sustainability, when it comes to the fashion of business, fashion part of it, they will be taking the lion's share of it. Now, how does a small young designer or a small company compete with this kind of a market space? And the khadi as a process comes as a disruptor. It's a powerful source because what it offers is a limited, smaller batches of production, right? It is a very slow process, and it offers exactly the back-end supply chain with all the credibility what probably a bigger brand will have to go through a vast majority of certification and the checkups and balances. So this offers a very unique position for a small brand because they can't afford for every single design 800 meters of fabric. They can't do that. They can't, for every single design, they can't keep on doing the kind of volume part of it and dumping it back again. So khadi with just a small little batch, you can innovate, you can design, and you can showcase a small little collection which is there. Now, I also see it as a very preferred fabric for a made-to-measure scenario. And when it comes to made-to-measure, because the luxury market, the high-end market is all about made-to-measure, right? People don't want to wear off-the-rack clothes, and they like to have clothes made especially for them, because fabric of khadi comes as a very good preferred fabric. India as a country is blessed to have the structure across the circumferences, north, west, east, south, and I would like to show that with a slide presentation so you'll understand what I'm saying. And I will also like to highlight, because khadi is a vast subject and I don't have the time to cover the entire thing. So what I'm going to try to achieve is just to pick up, I've just picked up a couple of fabrics, 5 fabrics something, which I would like to highlight, which is probably in a huge demand globally. And I hope you connect with it. So I'm just going to start presenting my slideshow, and I'm just going to So this is a small little brief thing about khadi. Basically, it's a historical fabric, and as you can say, it was there, but it was thanks to Mahatma Gandhi, who revived the whole thing in 1921, and that movement started, and it is 100% eco-friendly. So now coming back to the structure, which I was saying, so India, as you can see, we've got a different kind of weaves happening from different countries, different states, sorry. And I mean, like for example, something Pashmina is coming from Kashmir, silk is coming from Chennai, Odisha, or various other sources. But just to define one location, it is there. Muslin, fine muslin, Fulia is coming from East Bengal. Right, zari work is coming from West Gujarat. Cotton, double thread, single thread, ST is coming from Madhya Pradesh. These are just to define, and obviously, but it's divided. It's how it's available. These resources are available across the country. I've also taken an effort to tell you about a little bit crafts which are there. Now, even this crafts in India are divided, like the location-wise. The Shivori is one of the really in demand, with West Gujarat coming in. Ikkat again is a whole line within itself. Block print again from Rajasthan, chicken curry, and Kathawa, right? But as I said, I have picked up a couple of fabrics, and I'm just going to talk about that today. And so that it is cover the part from the thing. Now we talk about Pashmina. Pashmina, as a fabric, really resonates with everybody in terms of when you say a word called Kashmir, and it's a premium, high-end luxury fabric. The moment you say the name, people know it's just luxury. And in khadi, when it's such a slow process and it's such a smaller batch, and to offer a product like that, it is really something that people want, specifically highlighted fabrics for them. Like, for example, Pashmina shawls are there. You can do innovations in terms of personalization in the shawl itself, and it takes a lot of time for the fabric to be made. Then very interesting, and I think it is covering in the earlier slide also with Mr. Prakash, is Eri silk. And I like to see this fabric as a really interesting fabric in terms of when it comes to non-violence, and also in our Indian wedding market. Everybody is wearing. I've seen so many silks people are wearing in wedding, and I think Eri silk comes as a very interesting place because it offers in a scenario when everybody's coming together in union. Why do you want to kill a poor worm just to wear clothes? So Eri silk comes as a great alternative in a completely non-threatening environment of killing animals and then celebrating your occasion. So I think this is, and it works very well, especially when you blend it with other fabrics. I've taken the thing to explain a little bit more on behind the scenes. Like you can see these two couples, they're doing, the first starting of thing. It's also something for people in lockdown can learn that what two couples can do sitting at home. This is the thing. And then how exactly the breeding and extraction happens of silk. Wool is another one as a category because not everybody can afford Pashmina, right? It is very expensive, so it just doesn't fit the bill in terms of the pockets. So wool comes as a savior. It is a perfect thing if you blend wool with Pashmina or you blend wool with silk. It caters to the a huge demand which is required in the market. But the thing in India, what I have witnessed, from the industry when I look at it, is the fact that generally what you get, the wool is very thick and very heavy, right? And as the designer students who can innovate and textile students who can innovate, the need of the hour is if you can get a light wool, but a compact one. And that is something which one has to sit down with the people in the industry and work on it. And then if you can get that kind of product out, which is, it will be great because that is something which is missing. So these are some of the wool's methods which are there, and wool carding is there, spinning is there. I'm just covering this as a thing. Very interesting. Another fabric, hemp. Hemp, when we have showcased collections on hemp in the market, the response from the people has been amazing. People love the idea that when they connect to the idea that, oh, this is hemp and how can this be in fabric form? they could go back and they look at marijuana and then they go into their own thing and they try to smell the fabric as if they're getting some kind of a thing. So it attracts that attention, it attracts that demand which is there. Parallelly, if you tell them that this fabric is also good for the soil, instead of growing cotton and any other natural fabric, they like the whole idea. And from linen as a fabric, when you go beyond linen and you say, okay, what is next step of linen as a luxury? So when you blend hemp with linen or cotton, you see a very superior product. And I think that will be interesting to see, if we can have another collection which is coming out of hemp and linen blend. And for the upcoming designers, this is again, or the existing one, this is a good product to pursue. The problem with this one is there's a limitation in terms of resources. It's limited in a particular area in the country, and there's a lot of legalities behind it. But that challenges we will cover in the next coming up. But it is an important fabric, and one should really put this into a pinpoint this whole thing and take it from there. Then one of my personal favorite is the denim, khadi denim. And I think that whenever we have made a whole collection of khadi denim, people who have otherwise resonated khadi with the mass movement or the independent side of it, they just can't believe it. They just can't believe it. They're like, what are you saying? Is this khadi? Then why were we not wearing this before? So it is that impact when you see the collection, which is completely of the new age collection. It looks like as if it is coming out, and that is what the thing is. But the problem over here is that in denim you don't find again the weight is too heavy sometimes for a garment to be worn, and it becomes a little cumbersome at times for it. So the innovations which are required is something like if somebody can add stretch to the denim. And I think these are the innovations which are there. That's the reason why these fabrics are important, and people are working on it. And I wish to tell you, a lot of international designers come down to India just to work on them, and they take out their fabrics from the same weavers where we are working in, and they go and blend it. So I think we should not miss this as a fabric. Then what happens is, this is the dyeing process. Such a brilliant thing what we do with ourselves is that we make the fabric khadi, and we get the handmade process ready, done, and everything's there. But we end up putting exactly like on a sunflower, we start putting the diesel on it. When we start using the industrial chemicals dyeing process on these fabrics, and we start putting it with the the chemical thing, there's no point of getting into handmade and khadi if you're going to disrupt it anyways in the next supply chain. If you really have to use chemicals, then don't use khadi and handmade. So natural dyeing is a process which is there, and there are a lot of things available for natural dyeing, not only from the indigo side of it, but also from the fact that you've got waste from industrial waste is there. So we've done coloring and dyeing from industrial waste. We've done coloring from the leftovers, flowers and everything. There's a lot of resources available like that, which is there. So this is one of the cluster in Madhya Pradesh, which is doing the yarn dye indigo's natural way of doing it. Yeah. I'm just giving another snapshots of weaving centers, how it looks like. Basically, if you've been there already, but there are some of them which is there. Some of the clusters have started doing the quality control and a little bit of stitching and everything which is there. But it's still a very nascently done, so it doesn't have any standards, So yeah. This is yeah. So these were the things which are there in terms of as a structure wise, as you can see, khadi is available across the thing, and we're pinpointing onto these fabrics which is there. The important thing is that after that is what are the challenges that we're facing when we start to get into procurement of these fabrics, and what is it that we face it. So one of the core part of the bigger challenges what we face nowadays, there are a lot of them, but what we face is the whole skill set is dying, in this country, and the next generation is not following. Maybe it is because of the wages, Also for the location wise, they're getting better opportunities outside the villages and they will travel. One of the other major part of it is what I have seen is that there is no consistent supply. Both sides, I mean, for that matter, you probably will not get the regular demand to the weaver. You can't give that regular supply to the demand to the weaver. So he will make some fabric for you, and then suddenly there is a gap in his thing, and suddenly the cycle is broken. And then again, obviously, you can't keep so round the year supply from one side is difficult, and so that is one part, and that breaks the chain and that breaks the quality standard. So because of which you find really major issues when you start getting the next season. When you start getting the fabric again, you face major quality issues, and then you can't really balance it out, and you're always late on delivery then, right? And one of the other things which are there, which we've seen in most of the clusters, is there's a major coordination and communication issue, as most of them are not aware of how the tech pack works and how the languages work, and they don't understand. So, and it's difficult for a young designer, in any way, whether a female or a male, to go down to these clusters, sit down and get the job done. Obviously, when it's pushed, comes to shove, you'll have to do it. But it is not something which is feasible on a regular round-the-year scenario. So these are the challenges which we are facing. The other thing which we faced as an industry was there's a lot of fake and khadi which is roaming around, which is there. And now you can't really make a difference once you see the final product. You can't. And even a technical person cannot make a difference whether it is done from an auto loom or whether it is actually a genuine khadi. And that is the problem which we face. The other one which is there in this industry is for the young designers and MSME especially, is the whole khadi licensing and the how to use the khadi tag and what to do, what not to do. Can we put the Charkha brand there? Can we not? And then if we don't do that, then what's the point? So there is this set of challenges which we have seen. Now, even with the challenges comes an opportunity. Every challenge is an opportunity. I see and I believe in it. And so major challenge when it comes to this thing, there are these solutions which comes back with it. Khadi has, as a fabric, has brought together the entire nation. When we started with independence. So I think the time has come where it again collaborates the whole people together. And as one of the things of this panel discussion is that it's all about collaboration. So I believe that the biggest solution is that we have to collaborate as young startups and young designers and start focusing on one particular fabric and one particular cluster. Now that is the need of the hour. And when I say that, and I mean it, because what we do is, as Indians, what we have a basic idea is that chalo sab kuch kar lete. Let's just put a little bit of this recipe and that recipe and this, and so we will do all the things. But if you look at from how international designers or brands have flourished, they started focusing on one thing first. You look at Levi's, for example. They got denim, they just got continued with the denim part of it, and they're known as a brand with denims, right? So we have to learn from the people, the leaders. We have to focus on one particular kind of fabric. Don't try to do everything together. I suggest that 10 to 15 designers can come up, upcoming designers can come up together, because they don't have the signature as such. So people don't know you because of your signature. So you can create your signatures with one particular theme. So once you start doing that, you will also get sort out the supply chain part, because I can give 200 meters of order, the other person can give another 200 meters, and eventually so and so forth. So there's a whole collectively, there's a order which is there, and together you can deal with the all the kind of challenges which we have shared earlier. Then the other part is, what is the other solution? Okay, fine, we've got the source, and if I can't come together with people, then can't we start this business? Then how do we do this? So the other part as an individual is, okay, fine, don't get into all that area, and keep it simple. There are already companies who are God certified. There are already people like Mr. Prakash and others, so many of them, which are already doing this business at the supply and the back end side of it, and they're supporting this cause. So you don't need to reinvent that side of the wheel, right? You don't need to worry about the back end supply chain. only start working with GOTS certified supply chain when it comes to khadi and handmade. As long as the supplier or the organization is a GOTS certified, you sort it, right? You really don't need to work on, whether are they giving money to the weaver, is it getting the right thing? No, you've got that certificate that is sorted for you. So that is one way to start, as an individual. And you should approach all these organizations and start collecting, and even in that, focus on one particular fabric. Don't go into, okay, now that they've got these stocks, I will prepare this and that and that. So that really shakes the whole thing, because khadi is not easy in terms of as a fabric to keep on moving around from one to another. Specialize in one particular weave, start being known like that, and then from there on take it. The other part which we discussed in the challenge was that what are the licensing part of it, right? When can you use the khadi charka, or can you use the khadi brand name as a thing? Yes, you can if you are licensed. If you've taken the proper license, you've done the investments. Yes, obviously, then you can. But still, there is a lot of challenges in there. You have to be properly audited, and it's a task. So now, if you don't want to go there, now how do you do that? You don't need to use the word khadi then. What you need to do is you can simply use the word handspun, and that's the midway to the whole solution. Because if you're using handmade or handspun, people connect with that idea also. They understand the direct meaning of the word handspun and they connect with it. So you can start with that first, so that you first as a company grow with the same name, and then you can probably take it to the next level. The other thing is that if you are getting into this industry and in a particular state, there are a lot of states and center government and the Ministry of Textile for funding for this kind of cause. So you should be aware as a young designer that if you are in which state and what is that state offering to give you the incentive, so that you know that, okay, fine, I can get the funds which are required for this kind of a thing. Plus there are ministries which are there, the particular organizations which are going to be ready to fund you there. Like Tata is one of them, which is funding for this cause. So there are organizations which will help you in this manner, and you can start with the whole process like that. In the end, I would just add one more thing, and I would say that there's a scope side of it. Just to add the scope side of it, that when you come up from the college, it will be interesting to see that all the kids, everybody, are not joining into some companies and getting into it. I would love to see all of them starting their own businesses, their own entrepreneur. You should start with that journey first. And if a college says 80% of the students come out and they do their own business, that's excellent. And I think time has come that we see that. And in this particular industry, in the khadi and handmade, there's a lot of scope. And believe me when I say that, there is a huge demand internationally, globally, for this kind of product. And try to adopt a cluster, adopt a village, organization, just connect with them and start supplying to the world first. Because when you connect, you have a design aesthetic sense about it. You can understand the design part. You can understand the technicalities around it. So when you connect with your counterparts globally, like I'm based out of Dubai right now, and when I connect with the when the designers out of Dubai, this area, they see that they don't have any of these supplies. Now, how do they connect? Who do they call in India? How do they connect back? So they need to connect with these organizations, and they need to have the same wavelength, and they need the young generation to do that. And so I believe that that you as a young generation has the ability to do that. So focus first on the part of setting up the weaver thing instead of focusing just on your design thing, right? And if you don't do this now, then it's never going to happen. And this is like probably one of the last buses which is going to come in. And believe me when I'm saying it, because then you will not lead the sustainability and khadi and handmade or this particular thing. You will just follow it, because the brands will come and they will just tell you this is what it's done, and you'll follow it. So if you have to lead, you have to start now and try to reinvent the the khadi from the old system to the new one. Like I say, that Bharat to the India, right? So we need to reinvent and and give it a little bit more fresh energy and people, so that the entire world can connect with it. and I believe we can do this change. And all the best to the people, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mehta. We really appreciate your thoughts and experiences shared with us. I'm sure this will be really useful for our youth to employ in their professional careers. Since we are left with a little time, can we have few questions for both of you, Mr. Jha and Mr. Mehta? Will that be fine?
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right. So my first question goes to Mr. Jha. Sir, you have been dealing with organic supply chain for all the areas like fashion, sustainability, like pottery. So we have a question like handling this green supply chain for for larger businesses probably easier, but how being the newcomers, being the small scale entrepreneurs, how we can apply that to the small businesses? Mr. Jha, can you please share your take
You
on
mean
this?
as a raw material producer or as a fashion company, as
Both,
a fashion
sir,
label?
both.
I think everyone start really small. All the big fashion companies, I don't know if they all start like this. They were all newcomers once maybe many years back. I mean, we as a company, when I entered, like also in 2012, when I came with the idea of organic silk or pea-silk, I remember people were laughing on me. Why somebody cares about all this thing? And if you should have a dedication, no, I want to do something nice for me, for my community, and you have your own moral responsibility. Don't care about how to start. There are many companies who would help also startup. Me as a company, Cocoon, as a fabric supply, we are very famous among startups in Europe. We don't have a big MOQ. People, they can also buy small quantity from us. So we support a small startup as well. So same when a new company start as a fashion label, they should have small MOQ, I would say, like one small, it's a supply chain. I'm helping small designers, like startups in a small MOQ. They should have a small MOQ to retailers, So this kind of cycle works very good. I mean, I have seen one of I can give you example of Studio Pia in London. It's a lingerie brand. Now they started with ordering 45 meters 5 years back. Now they are ordering tens of thousands. Now they are kind of competitor of all the luxury lingerie brand in UK. So this is a cycle you have to start. Everyone start with small. So never to feel I'm small in this business. You should have a good idea and you should have dedication to make it bigger. No, I would never compare that I'm a small one. Many big silk companies now, they are calling me for cooperation, for example. People who never let me come into their stand many years back when I visit them. So you should have a good dedication, and there's nothing called small. Startup is startup, and it has to be, and as I said, like you, as a startup, you start as a startup, you also help other startup in retailing, So this is how it whole circle works. So never to feel that I'm a small, I would say.
Thank you so much, sir. Mehta sir, can you please give more light on this topic?
Yeah, I think exactly on the same thing, on the same line. I will say that when you're starting up as a young player, you have nothing to lose. I mean, it's like a new player coming in for a first game. There is no expectation out of that player. You just need to, I mean, you get a chance, and and I think that it should be excited for the fact that if top major players are out, and then you come and bat, and I believe that that's like God sent opportunity. And right now it is the same thing. I mean, the world is down in terms of overall the ecological balance have been gone there, and here we are with all the assets and things with us. I will like to see that it is practically like कि हमें Ferrari गाड़ी दी गई है और हम उसके साथ घास काट रहे हैं. So मतलब I mean we have not even understood the potential of the kind of cars and I mean so we have to wake up and start connecting the dots where we are seeing it. And when we see people like Mr. Prakash and other pillars who have already done this, started on this, idea is to clinch into this state, learn from this whole thing, associate yourself with these craft. And believe me, it is not about it is my fabric, your fabric. No, it's now people don't think like that. It is about, okay, how can we make this planet a beautiful place? It is not about one country, it is about the earth. So we should not think so myopically that, oh no, we just have to think about our own small organization. When you start thinking globally, start thinking that my first collection has to be showcased in Paris or in New York. Now, if you start thinking that, if you can put it in Paris, you can put it in Pune as well. But you have to first think globally. You have to bigger your own entire thing, and believe me, there will be mistakes which will be done, which is okay. Enjoy those mistakes. You will learn, and you will just come out of it. And that's the reason I'm saying that when you come out of the college, don't immediately jump into the job securities. Don't do that to yourself. You're just killing yourself when you do that. If you get into your entrepreneur skill, everybody has it in them. Everybody, and if you don't have it, your friend will have it. As a team, you become far more there with each other. So I believe that do that, come together, think like a global player. Lead this thing as if everybody is looking up to you only to lead it. So just take that responsibility and start working on it, and connect with everybody. Connect with all your counterparts across the globe. They will need that supply. They will need that touch. And believe me, it will be a lot of fun. You will enjoy it. So yeah, take it there.
Thank you so much, sir. Very well said, both of you. So my next question is for Mr. Mehta only. So, sir, Khadi has always brought with it the ideology. It's always been considered to be the fabric of freedom in India. So, do you think that affects the way it has been either explored or not explored in fashion?
Yeah, see, thanks to the idea first that we should be blessed by the idea that we've got a fashion connect to the independence. How many countries will even have the when we got independence, where is the fashion there? So we've got I will saw the master of fashion, which is Mahatma Gandhi. I mean, who knows better just to tape one fabric, and the way he's done it, he's made a style statement. Everything about him was a style statement, whether from his specs which he used to wear to the clothes, how the way he's wrapped it. So I believe that that's the advantage when we say that it is there on the independent side of it. The point is that are we able to capitalize on it till now? No, we have not done that. I would say that have we able to use it as a part? No, we have not done that, right? And Mahatma Gandhi is the person with everybody in the globe resonates with. They connect immediately. And when you talk about khadi or handmade, immediately people connect with Gandhi. So we have not been able to market it properly, and for a simple reason that we don't have that products, as refined as what the world needs. We still have a nascent stage, in terms of the Bhandar Khadi which are there. And believe me, it is good to see, very good, all this is hunky-dory. But no, the new audience doesn't want that. They want to, go back and work on it. Like, look at the fact that there's so many brands coming in with Prakash, and because he connects to the idea. He is able to, get that sense on exactly what they're looking at. So that is what I believe that we should use him and utilize that idea of independence with Khadi and take it forward. I believe I've answered it.
Yes. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So, Mr. Jha, the question is, it's not a question, it's just a discussion that I would like to have your say on this. Like, since you're already dealing with organic silk and we have a lot of scope and opportunity lying down with Khadi as a technique, like hand spun, hand woven. So, have you ever thought of utilizing that technique into your fashion biodiversity?
I didn't understand the question. My silk with khadi, or what was that question?
Yeah, khadi basically is a technique of hand spun and hand weaving. So have you ever thought of utilizing that technique using your organic silk?
I think we started like that. Initially, we had no resources to buy machines, so we started like that. Initially, I mean, when they saw our fabric, they called, hey, this is khadi silk. I said, yes. without a tag. I mean, as I said, I'm already associated with Khadi, Gramodyog. We are coming with this Mrida thing. But thing is, Khadi, this complete movement, should not always stay with fabric. There are many other aspects of Khadi, this movement. I'm coming into home furnishing with potters, because Khadi, if I also enter into textile, I think Mr. Mehta is doing much better than me. And I have other focus because my clients, they want silk, but preferably with power loom, you know. So my idea is to have more silk production. How I weave is all now is machines with power loom, and we have now also spinning machine. So I mean, it's beautiful. We have some of the product. It's same line like Khadi. We make some tweeds for the famous brand Chanel. It also can be called Khadi. We are actually working. I mean, we got a call last year with Khadi Jharkhand Association. We are working on it, but as I said, my expertise is more on woven by power looms. And Khadi, my association is coming with lifestyle thing, like we are making furniture with clay and terracotta, other things. So the philosophy of Khadi I'm following very much since beginning, but I have a different product line.
All right, so perfect. One last question to both of you. Since all these sustainable organic raw materials take a lot of time to procure, to grow, so how being fashion professionals, the youngsters can utilize this by reducing the time span for the procurement? So is there any way how we can reduce that time span to procure these materials?
Yeah, I don't know, Mr. Prakash can go ahead with it first, and I'll follow with it.
So initially we had this issue, we had bigger lead times, but I think since 2017, we always keep 10,000 meter of fabric in stock. So our lead times are now very fast, like within 2 weeks, we can supply thousands of meters also. So, and we understood that that was a big challenge for industries in India or anywhere for this bigger lead time, and fashion is changing so fast. We needed one strategy where we can demand and supply. The time in between should be shorter. So remember till 2015, our lead time was 6 to 8 weeks. Now we have also chance to do it within 1 week or 10 days also. You know, so I think all the companies who want to be successful in this sector, they have to have some faster strategies, you know, and we are successful in last 3 years because of our shorter lead times now.
Okay, so I think I will add to this. I look at it from the other angle to it. What happens when it comes to Khadi and handmade? You know, you don't want to get into the same rush, you know, in a fast fashion way it is done. Like, you know, speed to market where you are delivering things so far. I don't think so. It should with this, we cannot approach it like that, right? We have to see it from the fact that our planning has to be great. But a normal scenario, you work a year ahead for your collections. You know, you're at least 1 year ahead when it comes to planning your collection and this is there. When it comes to Khadi and handmade, you have to be almost 2 years ahead, right? When it comes to the procurement part of it, because which is there. When I said that you collaborate with each other and focus on one fabric, that is the answer when I'm looking at it. If you've got one fabric which is coming all throughout the year, then the back-end supply of a fabric will never be an issue because you will always have that supply which is coming in. So if your design are focused a year ahead when it comes to weaving on these fabrics, that will take some time for it. And nobody needs so much of fabric garments anyways. You know, we've realized with the lockdown that we've got bunch of garments lying in our clothes and we've not used more than a t-shirt. So you know, so I think that let's not get into that race in terms of delivering it faster. We need, we have to, as I said, lifestyle has to be created. People will follow that lifestyle. People will get into that whole idea of they will wait for these fabrics to come to them and the garments to come to them. They don't need it overnight. And, you know, it's not a thing. So I believe that first you have to plan it ahead. Second thing is that you have to collaborate together as a small companies where you can get the same fabric every year around. So if anybody has an emergency or anything which is there, you can always take that out from the running mill, and you can. If you say that you will push the weaver that I need this today by itself, then the weaver is going to say, okay, thank God, go ahead. I have got my farm to look at. I've got my food. I've got my fabric which I can make for myself. I don't need you. So you need me more than I need you. So I'm not going to rush on any of these things. So we just should not run and get this thing. We have to figure out, supply chain has to get faster. But procurement manner and approach, if that changes, you naturally will get a supply chain faster. You will always have fabric ready, and you can convert. Yeah.
I would say this is a classic difference between power loom and hand loom. Khadi is more with hand done, and we are now 80% power loom. So we are much more faster. So it's a classic. I think we need to have a in between, because I think I remember when I started my career, we were like planning for 3 years in ahead. Now most of the designers, they don't know that insecurity and all. I think somehow they prepare like 6 months before now. Also, I work with some big brands in Paris. Before they called me like, okay, now they are working for 2025 something. Now they say, hey, I need for 6 months lead time. What can you offer me? So things are changing last years.
Yeah, I think the other part, which is the thing which has to be started and which has started already with a lot of brands doing to how to solve this, because there are 4 seasons, there are 2 seasons in a year. So I believe we start making seasonless garments. We will have to get into khadi and handmade is all seasonless. You can't say that this white khadi shirt is what I connect with in the month of July, and I can't connect this in the month of December, because weather across India is different, and globally also. So we don't have to, as I said, don't focus on one particular zone to start marketing your product. Especially with the pandemic, everything is online. So the demand from the world is already there. Across there are different weathers. So we focus at a seasonless garments, so that you don't have to rush for it every season. It's a season, and plus unisex. The next kind of clothing is unisex. You don't have to be differentiated. This is women's wear, this is men's wear. So when you look at that, when you sort out those bottlenecks in terms of manufacturing and making, you suddenly change that speed in terms of what timeline is used during the manufacturing and from the fabric. So if your fabric stage is a little time consuming, fair enough. But your manufacturing and your overall styling season is shorter now compared to the other fast fashion brands. So that is where you can squeeze in that extra days from weaving point of view, and that's it. So this is where it is. Focus on seasonless, focus on unisex, and you will probably be sorted. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. What a great inspiration, seasonless. So that's something really great our students can do. So it was really great talking to both of you. We will continue to talk more in our panel discussion session post lunch. So thank you so much, Mr. Jha. Thank you so much, Mr. Mehta. Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful start out here. I'm very sure with such effortful directions, we will achieve the sustainability and green fashion goals very, very soon. We will continue to engage ourselves with green talks and much more after the lunch break. I request everyone to join us back sharp at 1 for more brainstorming talks. See you all for the next session. Thank you so much.
See you all. Enjoy the lunch.
Yes, you too, sir. Thank you.